All right, hello, welcome back. Thanks for joining again. I'm here with one of my clients and we're going to have a little chat again. So, Jen, tell us who you are, where you live, and what you do.
So I'm Jen Pasutka. I live in Kitchener, Ontario, in Canada. I'm a CPA, and pre-pandemic, a big part of my life was commuting to Toronto for work, but I've been working from home a little bit more lately.
Yeah, and that's a big change for you too.
Huge.
Okay, if you can just give us a little bit of where you were with your health, fitness, and happiness before you joined the program, and why did you decide to work with me or look for a coach?
Sure. So I joined the program in November of 2020, which was about 8 months into the pandemic. And I spent a couple of years before that focused on establishing a regular fitness routine with your help. And pre-pandemic, I had managed to carve out 3 mornings a week to work out. Really, my overall objective at that point was really to manage my mental health, manage my stress levels, and really focus on using physical activity to do that. And then when the pandemic hit, we were able to step up our workouts to 4 times a week, and we did virtual workouts and then eventually in person when that was possible. But now I'm up to 4 workouts a week in the morning. So again, still really focused on managing my stress. What I wasn't focused on at that time was how I was eating and, the nature of what I was eating. And I would say, like many people during the early days of COVID, I definitely found myself enjoying too much wine and takeout food and that kind of stuff. And I was feeling pretty blah by the time fall of 2020 hit. And you suggested that I join the program and kind of take control of what was going into my body. And I think it was perfect timing because I really felt ready to tackle this. And I kind of, knowing that we were still going to be in COVID shutdown for a while, I saw the opportunity to really focus on my health with kind of less distractions going on. So I think mentally I was really ready, and I was feeling physically kind of blah, and it was something that physical fitness wasn't fixing. I knew it needed to be diet. So
yeah, and a couple of things that stood out for me there. First of all, yes, Jen and I were training together in the gym prior to her joining the program, and her fitness was down. But she was actually one of the 2 first people that I've ever had taken through this whole entire process. So I was very lucky to have somebody who was so focused and ready, and you were that. Like it was so great just to know that what I was learning, what I was doing was actually working, right? Because you were one other person were my first models, and you guys did amazing throughout the program. So I was so happy for that. It was so nice. And then, with the pandemic, I think you still could have done it. You're the type of person that could have done it while you were commuting. But as far as like a focus perspective, you were ready at that point, right? And I think that's all this has to do with is when you're ready. There's never a great time, but you found that this, you're like, no, I focused on my exercise. Now I need to focus on my eating. So for you, that was the right time. It just hit right at that exact time. So that was good. I'm curious, when I came to you and approached you about this, was there anything you were skeptical about before joining, or any reason why you almost were like, no, I don't want to do it?
I think I had lost a lot of weight in my early 30s and then kind of allowed myself to slip back into some old habits. And I was skeptical of myself of doing that again, frankly. And I think that's kind of common within the weight loss industry. Some people have short-term success. And I think what was different about this is once I got my head around it and thought about your suggestion, was that it was, for me, a great opportunity to view it as a lifestyle change. So instead of just viewing it as something to lose some weight, it was more about how can I change my lifestyle and embed this into my life. So, fitness has become an embedded routine for me. And I kind of viewed this as an opportunity to make a change to how I was eating on a more permanent basis. I am a really busy person from a career perspective, and I'm actually in my Toronto office today, so we're back to working in the office. And so having you as a coach was a huge success factor for me, because in a way I could kind of give up a little bit of control over this area, and you kind of gave me the rules to live by, and I just took the view that, okay, I'm just going to do what she tells me to do. I trust you. And so it kind of enabled me to just say, okay, I'm going to put myself in your hands and we're going to follow this journey and see where it goes. And that was a huge success factor for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think there's skepticism in anything that you're unsure of, right? And you being one of the first people into the program, I'm sure it was like, okay, I'll give this a try. So the fact that you put a trust in me, that's awesome. And I thank you for that. And I'm so glad we were able to do that together. So it's been, you were my first. It's been probably around 15 months since you've, started the program. Can you touch on some of the specific results or benefits you've experienced since joining the program, physically, mentally, or emotionally? And I love this part.
Okay. So, 15 months, which when I was counting it up, I was like, oh, it's hard to believe it's been that long. And I have had a lot of different benefits from the program. So I definitely, from a physical perspective, have a lot better understanding of how different foods impact my body and my energy levels. I have, those two things are very connected in my mind now. I know that eating well and specifically maintaining a regular schedule of meals and avoiding the Furious Five mean that I will feel good and I'll have good energy levels throughout the day. So that's been a really big learning point for me. Like how I feel is definitely linked to how I eat now in my mind. I did lose 55 to 60 pounds and I have developed a much more healthy perspective on my weight. So for me, I'm not really laser focused on the number, but I'm very generally aware of keeping kind of within a 5-pound range. It lets me occasionally indulge in something on the weekend without feeling like I'm off track. And I've been able to maintain that weight loss for about 8 months now, which is very exciting for me.
Yes, that is so great. You did amazing. I remember it was just week after week. You did what I told you to do. You followed the program. And what really works with this is that E-type personality where you're like, no, she told me to do this. I'm going to do this. So you're living proof that following through with what you're given is like exactly what you need to do. Right. Yeah. So 100%. We just kept, oh my gosh, I remember you like, I'm going to plateau at some point. There's got to be some point that I'm going to plateau. And it just kept going until you got to that 55, 60 pound mark. And then, here's where I'm comfortable, right? Like my body's actually comfortable here. I've worked it down to this point. And you didn't really have a whole lot of hormonal challenges. For you, it was more just making it a lifestyle and eating on a regular basis. That was the biggest thing for you. So
for sure.
Were there any results or benefits that you achieved that you weren't expecting that ended up like as a pleasant surprise?
I think that, keeping an open mind was important to me. So I tried not to have too many expectations. I did hope that I would drop 20 pounds and the amount of weight that I lost was a complete surprise. So, that has been fantastic. It's kind of in the best health of my life at this point. But I think even more than that is I feel like I don't feel restricted. I don't feel like I'm on a diet. Yes. I feel like I have a healthy lifestyle and something that I can maintain on a regular basis, which is just super important to me to feel that way. And as I've kind of integrated back into being in the office sometimes, there is definitely those pleasant moments of seeing coworkers I hadn't seen for a while who are, they're like, oh, you look so great. That piece was nice. Buying new clothes was nice. Yes. But also just, I feel like even integrating back into the office with some of those distractions and pressures and client lunches and that kind of stuff coming back in, I felt ready to handle those and integrate them into my healthy lifestyle, which was nice. And again, I didn't feel like I was somehow backsliding or breaking any rules, right? And I didn't feel like I was restricted because it was this kind of mental view of, okay, this is how I'm eating now. And it was actually been an easier transition than I expected it to be, which has been nice.
Yes. And you went out so much before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And it was more, I think it was more just, you were focused on your clients and going out and there wasn't so much focus. It was just like, okay, I'm just going to eat whatever's there. And then having this tool and having the tools that I've given you have allowed you to be like, oh, I can still go out with my clients, but I can eat on a healthier way, right? So there's, you're not getting as tired anymore. You're able to get up for your workout super, right? We work out together at 6 o'clock in the morning. So she gets to get up and she's ready, right? Instead of dragging it. Now, there are some nights when you work till after 1 o'clock that we do pause on that. But yeah. And I remember when you were like, okay, I really need to go get new clothes because nothing's really fitting me anymore. And you were only being seen from here up. And so, and then I kind of gave you the suggestion of like, why don't you get rid of those clothes? Because they're never coming back. And that way it's changing that whole mindset of this is just for right now. No, this is how I am. So let's get a wardrobe that I can fit into right now because I'm not going back there, right? It's my life now. So
100%. That's been very positive, and also like just a great mental motivator for me. Like, oh, I love all my new clothes. Like maintaining my lifestyle allows me to maintain that as well.
So. Yeah, so fun. What would you say to someone who's considering reaching out to me about the program and they themselves are skeptical about it?
Yeah, so I would say that this program supports long-term health. So if that's something that you want for yourself, this program is a really good choice. And 3 key pieces of advice I would give someone is keep an open mind and embrace the program as a whole, rather than trying to work against it or say, oh, well, I still like to bake or something like that. Like just embrace it as a whole, give it a chance, and see, and I think you'll start to see the benefits of it. Second of all, it is an investment in yourself, and investments take time and effort, but it is completely worth it. And play the long game. Like pick yourself back up, keep going. I think emotional eating is something that we all do. And I became more aware of, I'm more of an emotional drinker, but I tend to, I'm more aware of it now and making a choice and, don't have wine with dinner every night. I kind of have that once on the weekend and its ability to enjoy that. So, play the long game, have the bad days, pick yourself back up, but make it a long-term thing.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. It sounds way different coming from you who've gone through it and have been able to maintain, right? Like you have been, without me as a health coach, we've been coaching as like physical coach together, but you've been able to maintain this throughout. So, it's not just that you stopped yesterday. You've been doing this for several months on your own. And even now you've got your husband doing it. So that's really good. He's finally on board, right?
He is, yes.
You guys are able to eat the same things. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing with us your experience and getting vulnerable with us, because that's what this is all about too. And yes, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, hey, my pleasure. And thank you for all your support.
Yes.
Like I said, it's been a key success factor for me.
No problem. All right. Well, have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Carrie. Bye.
Bye.